Well, hello and welcome to this podcast of Parenting Wins. I'm your host, Iona, Chisholm, and it's lovely to have you here with me today. So, what's Parenting Wins about? Well, we're here to share successes. We're here to be proud of our parents. We're here to be proud of our parenting. So, has your baby just slept through the night? Or has it just eaten its first spoonful of broccoli puree? Or has your child walked to high school for the first time on their own and remembered all of their bags? Or maybe they've gone to university and they've done some washing. Well, these are the kind of parenting wins we're here to celebrate. So we're going to have parents coming in to talk about their experiences. We're going to have people to come in and talk about their parents. And sometimes we're going to have experts who are going to come in with information that we can use to become better parents. And that's what we're going to be doing today, because the subject of this podcast is going to be pregnancy. And I am delighted to welcome into the studio to me today a special guest. It's midwife Samantha Hallam.
Hello.
Hi, Sam. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. It's very exciting to be here.
It's great to have you here. What do you think of the studio?
I'm really excited. It's great.
Yeah?
Really thrilled. Really thrilled.
Well, it's wonderful to have you here because I know that you're going to give us so much valuable information. And really, we're starting at the very beginning, aren't we?
Absolutely.
So let's think, before that moment when you get that blue line, what can people be doing to actually prepare for pregnancy, to make sure that they're going to have a healthy pregnancy? What tips would you give for that time of life?
It's very difficult, isn't it? Because sometimes thinking about pregnancy, people get scared and people get stressed, and sometimes that can go against getting pregnant. There's no exact science to being pregnant. Health, we all know it. Your litres of water a day, good vegetables, and your supplements. So folic acid, really big one. Make sure your iron levels are good. So if you don't want to take tablets, it's leafy greens and your red meats and things like that. You can get it through your diet. And vitamin D. So all of us should be taking vitamin D, according to the NHS anyway. I think it's from October to March, just because we don't have the sun in England. But all these things to prepare your body, so your body is as prepared as it can be to create a healthy baby.
Brilliant. So healthy diet, the right supplements, exercise, and just relax and let nature take its course.
See what happens, absolutely. Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's some good tips to set us up to the time, that big day in your life when you get the pregnancy test and you see that thin blue line.
What a scary line.
It's a big day, isn't it?
It certainly
As
is.
you know.
I do.
And so what happens next?
Normally you have a little bit of a freak out. That's the normal next step. And then next thing is to get in touch with a midwife. So normally you can either call your GP. They'll give you a way to do that. So some GPs refer themselves. You go to your GP, they do it for you. A lot of the places now, a lot of our hospitals do self-referral. But the best thing to do is contact the GP and they'll give you the ideas of what you're supposed to do. Your referral goes off to your community midwife. So community midwives are all attached to specific hospitals, and your postcode, it's almost like a catchment area for schools.
Yeah.
Whatever your postcode is, it will link to a specific hospital. That doesn't necessarily have to be the hospital you want to have your baby at, if you want to have it in a hospital at all. But your community midwife is like a catchment area for schools. So it goes off to like an automatic, you don't get a choice as to where that's going. And then you get contacted to go and have your booking appointment. So first booking appointment, it's normally sort of an hour and a half, depending on the slots that your midwife has.
And what time of your pregnancy would that be? How many weeks?
So usually you want to have it before your 11 weeks. Because what happens after that appointment is you get your appointment for your 12-week scan. So the earlier you can get in contact with your midwife, the better. We can get you all set up. Means that they've got a longer sort of period of like a bigger window to ensure that you can get an appointment in for that scan. Because that 12-week scan is quite a good important scan.
It's a key time, isn't it?
Yeah.
So let's assume we get that first appointment, that sort of 10-week appointment. What would happen there?
So at your booking appointment, your midwife will probe and poke at you both with questions and with taking blood samples and all sorts of bits and pieces. But you will go through your family history, your health history, whether you have any previous children, if this is your first child. Just take a general health history from you, which is why it can take a little bit longer, depending if you've had 3 or 4 children before or no children before. Obviously, you have to go through all the information. The more information you have, the better. We can create a picture of what's going on with this current pregnancy. They talk about, so as mothers, our own mothers and our grandparents, do they have any health history? It could be diabetes, it could be preeclampsia, it could be, whatever. We take it all into consideration and we start building a picture for you.
And it's important to know at this stage as much as possible, because then it helps you as a midwife to tailor the right care, doesn't it?
Yeah, it crafts what we'll do now for the rest of your pregnancy and the options that will be available for birth and everything like that.
Yeah, so you're looking forward to the end right from the beginning.
From the beginning, we're sort of thinking, how are things going to work out, and what sort of things do you need? Do you need to be on extra tablets, say aspirin or anything like that? And we can figure that out sooner than later.
You mentioned supplements before. How long are you supposed to take folic acid for, and the other supplements that you mentioned? Is there a recommended time in pregnancy where they're not needed as much?
So up until 12 weeks, so folic acid is to help not to get too sciencey, it's to help the central line. So
the spinal cord and the brain.
Yeah, exactly like that. And it can help with us sort of offsetting cleft palates and cleft lips. So it's really important, because these things occur, the central line develops sometimes before we even find out we're pregnant. So if you find out sort of 8-9 weeks, a lot of this development for your baby's already sort of come and gone.
So it's a good idea, isn't it, if you're planning a pregnancy, to be taking it. And it's in bread and cereals, isn't it? So you can be taking it. It's in there as well, but the supplement's recommended, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. The more we know with science, the more we sort of recommend bits and pieces. But it's not a problem if you haven't been taking it and you find out you're pregnant. Normally, things can happen regardless. You can be taking things and
and it could be in your food, and it could be
absolutely.
Brilliant. So we've got to this 10-week appointment. Is there anything else you need to tell us about that, or are we moving on to the 12-week scan?
Your midwife will take some bloods from you and send those off. There's many bottles, don't be worried about it, but we check a million different things from those blood bottles. Sometimes they do it at your scan if you decided I'm going to go to a different hospital, because that's where they need all your information, not necessarily with the community midwife. So if you've decided I'm going to go to hospital A instead of hospital B, then hospital A will take your blood for you.
Okay, and what are you looking for in these bloods? So it's what I would describe as a baseline. I don't know if that's the right term, but you're looking at what somebody's body is like. What levels are you looking for?
So we do a full blood count, so we're looking at everything that knocks about in your blood, just so we know what's going on. If you need more iron, we can advise. If you vitamin D is lower, we can advise. We check that for infectious diseases. So have you got any blood diseases that you might not know about or you do know about, and we need to check the levels of those things. So we double check that. We get your blood group. We then recheck that at 28 weeks. Not necessarily all of those things, but we check your blood levels and your blood group again at 28 weeks, just to make sure that everything's sort of keeping where it needs to be. Yeah, absolutely.
So that 10-week appointment is important, isn't it?
So important. So important. It's how you get on the radar for maternity care.
And so then what happens after that?
So then you get your dating scan, hopefully all goes well, and you have your 12-week scan. At this appointment, you'll be offered screening tests for baby. So hopefully at your booking appointment, you'll be someone will tell you about what screening is available for your baby. So we check for Down syndrome, Edwards syndrome and Pateau syndrome. Have a little bit of a research around those things. You can decline. Screening is all optional. It's up to you. But sometimes that can be just a measurement and a blood test again from the mother, or depending on where you are. So sometimes, I think it's over 14 weeks or over a certain amount of weeks pregnant, you miss some of the scans, some of the available screening.
So it has to be done at a particular time, is what you're saying. There's a window,
which is why we like it in that 12 weeks. Yeah. Absolutely.
So it's important, if you do consider, or for your own personal circumstances, that you're recommended those, that you catch that window.
If that's what you want. Yeah. Absolutely. Some people decline. That's absolutely their choice. It's their body, their baby. We're not here to tell you that you should or you shouldn't.
Absolutely.
It's just to understand that these things are available, but they're only in certain times.
That's exactly it. And this is exactly what we want to do, is to give that information and inform people as much as we can, but actually making it clear that every pregnancy is individual, and it's just, these are things that it's important to know that they're there, isn't it? Yeah,
absolutely. This also gives you a due date. So your midwife will sort of gauge one. She might have an old school wheel that goes off so they normally go off the first day of your last pregnancy. We call it an LMP.
Do you mean last menstrual period?
Yes, sorry, last menstrual period. Yep. From there, then they sort of guess the due date. Cycles obviously vary.
It's not an exact science, is it?
There's no exact science to that one at all.
No.
But we go off the dating scan. So your dating scan, your 12-week scan will give you a date, and that is the one that we will go from for
everything else.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the plan.
You might not agree with it. However, that's the one we will use that overrides what your midwife said. You might have had a private scan that gave you a different date. We will use the one from the NHS dating scan.
And when you talk about this 12-week scan, what kind of scan is it and what actually happens?
It's a little ultrasound scan. There's no heartbeat normally. We don't listen for anything like that. We check babies in the right place, grow in the right way. They can take measurements for the screening if necessary. And from the growth, they give you a date. Very, very simple. I'm not an ultrasound specialist, so it's really difficult.
Is it the one with the jelly? That's what I'm thinking.
It's the jelly on the belly.
It's
the cold jelly on the belly and a really full bladder.
Yes, I was going to say you can't have a wee. You have to have a big drink, don't you? So.
Yeah, it's because baby's so small, so a full bladder pushes it up, so they've got a better eye on them.
Brilliant.
But
yeah,
you normally need a big wee and they're pushing on your tummy and it's cold.
So it's great when they're finished, isn't it?
Yeah, oh my God, thank God I need to go to the toilet. But yeah, so that's your 12-week scan.
Yeah, and then what comes next?
Is your 16-week appointment with your community midwife. So back to your community midwife. She might be in a GP surgery, she might be at a children's centre or in a hospital, wherever she may be. We like to keep the same one, like same midwife, but obviously things happen, people go part-time, they leave, they're off sick, they're on holiday. It might just be that you can only do Tuesdays and she only works Wednesdays, whatever that may be. Or they're on a certain team, so you might be under Team Blue, so you might not see the same lady, but you will always see someone from Team Blue. So your next one is your 16-week appointment. This is where they check their blood results that we took at the 12 weeks, and just make sure everything's okay for you. You can raise any questions, any queries. Most of the time, every community appointment is a blood pressure. We check your urine to see if anything's knocking around in there. That could be a protein, it could be glucose, it could be, well, anything really. And we can act on that if we need to. We do carbon monoxide checking now, so it looks like a little breathalyzer.
Oh, that's a new one. I've never heard of that.
Yes, so we do a little breathalyzer every contact now. And we're looking for a really low number, sort of 0, 1, 2, 3. Anything higher than that, you may be a smoker or a vapor, or you may have just walked along a really busy road with lots of roadworks, and we can at least see. Or none of those things, and then we can check your boiler. And we've had many people had terrible boilers or leaks at home, and we've caught it.
Isn't it? That's amazing.
Yeah,
and can I just take you back to the urine test you mentioned? So you mentioned about the protein and other issues.
Yes.
If you get an abnormal urine test, is that a real problem, or can things be, sorted out promptly? What kind of things are we talking about?
Different things your body will put into your urine, depending on what's going on, and depending on where you are in your pregnancy, they might mean different things. So. Normally, if we find sugar in your wee, so glucose, we're thinking, have you had sugary Weetabix in the morning and now you've come to see me? Or is your body just metabolising sugar ever so slightly differently? And is that sort of looking at diabetes? This could be gestational, or you could have type 1 or type 2 in the family. Who knows? We can go from there. We've got extra testing. It could just be that you've just had some
craving milky bar for lunch.
I mean, absolutely. We've all done it.
Absolutely.
Proteins, this could be discharge. It could be something a bit more sinister later on in pregnancy. It normally comes along with other symptoms if we're thinking about preeclampsia.
And is that swelling of the ankles?
Could be swelling, it could be visual disturbances, it could be headaches that just won't go away, higher blood pressure that's sort of creeping up and we can't get control of it, many different things once again. But the wee's the first thing that will give us an idea of what's going on.
And it starts a ball rolling on those investigations.
We can have a little look, and absolutely. It might tell us that you've got a UTI brewing and you don't know about it.
Yeah.
You haven't realised it yet. Or when we say, oh, does it sting a little bit?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I didn't think about it, but yeah, it might be.
So it could be urinary tract infection.
Yeah, it could be something that simple.
Yeah.
Can even tell us if you're dehydrated. So really, really important thing, really.
Yeah.
We don't just love dipping people's body, contrary to what everyone thinks. We love doing it. Absolutely.
So that's the 16-week appointment. Anything else to say about the 16-week appointment, or what comes next?
Some midwives will do a first listen to baby. So that's when they get the little Doppler and have a listen. It's not a widespread thing. Some do, some don't. Different trusts, different midwives. But sometimes you get lucky enough that they'll have a little listen for your baby. But it's like trying to find a tadpole in the sea. So it sometimes can take a little bit longer than we would like. But sometimes we can have a little listen, we can find your baby.
And is that listening for the heartbeat or for
Listening
movement
for
sounds?
the heartbeat.
Oh, wonderful.
It's a lovely sound.
Moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so sometimes,
absolutely.
depending on your midwife and what trust and where you are, that might happen at that appointment. If not, it'll be the next time you see your community midwife.
I bet that is a sound that you never
the
get
best.
tired of.
It's the best sound.
Absolutely amazing.
I think my face lights up more than the women when I'm doing it. I'm like, there they are. It's lovely.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a wonderful gift, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, lovely.
So lovely.
Brilliant. So
Really
where
nice.
do we go after that?
You go to your 20-week anomaly scan, which I think to the general public is your gender scan.
Okay.
It's when you find out if you want to, what you're having. That's not necessarily why we're doing it. We call it an anomaly scan. So we're looking to make sure that organs are in the right place and a heart's fully formed and everything's sort of looking as it should. But while they're there, they can see what you're having. And if you want to know, you can find out. Very, very exciting, but a very, very important one. Yeah, definitely.
And of course, for you, as baby's bigger, as you say, you can really check, can't you? And that's what your priority
That
is.
scan is amazing. Absolutely.
And that is the jelly on the belly again.
Back to the jelly on the belly.
And the sort of blurry black and white picture that you
That's
get
the
the
one.
picture of, which is
Yeah.
amazing. The first picture of your baby sometimes.
Sometimes you get it at the 12 week.
The 12-week
yeah,
scan.
but they don't really look like much at that point. But
No.
it looks amazing.
That's
still.
it. It's a baby shape by 20 weeks,
That's
isn't
it.
it?
You're
Yeah,
looking at
it's
something that you
fantastic.
recognise as a baby at that point. Yeah.
Amazing.
It's very lovely. But it's really, really important. So we're checking that the heart's fully formed and it's got all of its valves and all of its bits and pieces that it needs and it's in the right area. And then we check all the liver and is the kidneys in the right place and there's definitely 2 of them and all that kind of stuff. So it's really, really important for us that we do that.
To tick all those boxes. And I mean, I know we're being scientific, but do you know what? I have this feeling of joy, do you, talking about
wonderful.
this? It's a miracle, isn't it? You never, I mean, I'm sure you see this all the time. Do you ever forget what a miracle this is?
No.
Or do you find it
I
actually
think-
increases more?
I'm more and more amazed by women every single day.
Yeah.
Because it's amazing.
Yeah.
How are we doing that? You're just making a person
Yeah.
that didn't exist before. And now you've created a whole
Yeah.
person while you've done your everyday life.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Oh.
Absolutely. Talk about multitasking.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's probably,
It's
the height
so
of multitasking.
incredible. You have more
Yeah.
blood, you're doing more things. It's fantastic. Absolutely brilliant thing that people are doing.
I think there's somebody said about pregnancy, it's the only time when a woman's sitting down and actually still working incredibly hard
Well, that's why
because it's
you-
all going on, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You walk 3 steps and you're out of breath.
Yeah.
Because you're working.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're creating. It's best thing.
Incredible. Oh, it's lovely to pause and just think, isn't it amazing?
Isn't it?
Oh, so where have we got to on our appointment
So
schedule?
you've gone to your 20 weeks anomaly scan. Hopefully all is well. Off you go out the door again. You come back to your community midwife about 24, 25, 26 weeks. This is where you get a really important piece of paper called your MAP B1. So this is your...
I remember
There you
that.
go.
When you said it, I was like, oh, yes, I remember that.
Yeah. Legally, it has to sort of come around at 24. We can't really give it out any earlier than that. And this is your legal paperwork that goes to your employer and your partner's employer that entitles you to maternity leave. So really important. You only get the one. And each of them have a special number on them, and that is your special number. So you must be really, really careful with that piece of paper. Normally what happens is that the original goes to your employer and a copy goes to your partners. So they get paternity leave alongside. So really important you get that one.
Brilliant.
But that's at that one. If you're having blood tests at a different place, then you might be given forms ready for your 28 weeks, but depends on where you've gone and all those other bits and pieces. Same things happen. We listen to baby. We do a fetal heart. So again, little Doppler so we can hear your baby. Blood pressure, urine, all the normal stuff. Again, the carbon monoxide. So we're doing the breathalyzer on you. All the normal things and any questions that you have. But the big one from that appointment is the MAP B1. Your next appointment is about 28 weeks. That's when we repeat those bloods. Hopefully you haven't sort of randomly switched blood type. You stick where you are and then we can make sure that you've still got enough iron and the baby's not taking too much from you. If you are or anything like that, we can adjust whether you need different iron, whether you need to start iron, all those bits and pieces, or whether you might need an infusion. As women, we have really low iron levels generally with poor eaters and all that other bits and pieces. So it's good to double check as we go through your pregnancy that
Absolutely.
you are healthy.
And I think by that point, you've either become used to or resigned to the amount of blood tests that you have to have.
Absolutely.
Because no one likes needles, do they? And I think to begin with, this sort of sense of invasion can be a bit, overwhelming. But actually, you do get used to it. And I think because you get the reassurance from them, I think you come to appreciate that this is part of the journey, isn't it? And by having these tests, you then get the reassurance and it fills all the information that you need. For example, the iron, as you mentioned. And it can all be taken care of, can't it?
It helps to know what the tests are for.
Absolutely.
So rather than just being poked and prod, just ask us all the time, what's this for? What do you know from that? When do the results come back in? Will you tell me about my results? There's no silly question to us. This is your care.
And if you connect with it in that way, perhaps it makes it less intimidating, doesn't it? You understand why.
Knowledge is power, as everybody
absolutely
says. So it's really good to know what we're doing at any point, because it's your pregnancy, your baby, your body.
So do ask. Make sure you always ask. Brilliant.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so where are we?
We are coming up to sort of 31 weeks. So baby will have been kicking away by now. Some people feel it around 17 weeks. Other people, it can take up to 20, 23 sort of weeks. Baby's got a pattern now. At this point, we're telling you if baby changes their pattern of movements, you're calling triage. It could be called triage or maternity assessment or whatever your hospital calls it. The first thing baby will do if they're not happy about something is sort of slow down and change what they're doing. So it's really important that you give us a call. And we'll tell you about that every time. So you're now at 31 weeks and things start to ramp up now. You see your community midwife a lot more often, but the same things get done. We start measuring your belly at 28 weeks. Not an exact science. Again, we're measuring you, baby, waters, placenta, any body fat as well. Your measurement will change depending on if baby's got their bum sticking out or if they've wiggled around. So not a total science. A lot of women these days have serial growth scans, so maybe don't get the tape measure on the tummy. But if you're not, this is when we're doing those things. So 31 weeks, and then you go to 34 weeks. So we're seeing you every 2 or 3 weeks at this point. Be 32, 31, 34, 36, 38, 40, 41, 42. So it becomes really, really regular. All the appointments kind of stay the same at this point now. So always blood pressure, always urine. We're measuring if we need to. We're listening to baby every time. We're asking you about your movements. These are the basics of every appointment. In there, might be 34 weeks, might be 36 weeks. Your midwife might talk to you about a birth plan. You might get an extra long appointment to talk about a birth plan. My advice would be take the appointment, have a think, have a research, because it's so important. There's so many options available to us, and it's not necessarily to. I think sometimes I find the word plan sometimes a little bit problematic, because you like to plan things out, and babies will do whatever they want to do.
Absolutely, you have expectations, and in fact, birth that you're touching on is such a big subject. We're going to do a separate podcast, aren't we, on it?
We certainly are.
We can't do it justice right now.
No, absolutely. But your plan is very important. We can talk to you about pain relief, options of where you can give birth, what's going on. We can talk about induction. We can talk to you about caesarean sections. We can talk to you about pool births. We can talk to you about what's available in your hospital. We can talk to you about how you want to deliver your placenta. You can kind of have a lot of the questions. This is your time. You would never buy a car. This is what I always say. You would never buy a car without researching that car. A baby's the best but both life-changing thing you're ever going to do. Research it.
And birth is a big day, and sometimes longer than a day. And actually, if you are prepared by having that knowledge, having that information, we'll be talking in our next podcast about going with the flow, I'm sure. But, you know, if you've done all this research and preparation, that is important, isn't it? Because
I think so.
Knowledge is power. We're saying it again, it's true.
It's not necessarily to have it out that I'm going to walk in on a Monday and then this is going to happen and this is going to happen. But I'd like it if these things happen, but if that didn't happen, I'm open and I understand why other things would happen.
And that's a good tip, isn't it? To be flexible. So do find out as much as you can. Have your ideal, but know about all the alternatives, because maybe on birthday you're going to have to make a quick decision. And if you know about it, it's there, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But that's the time in that birth plan. So hopefully you get a little bit more dedicated time. And that's where all your prep can come into it. Do you want to do sort of NCT? Do you want to do hypnobirthing? Do you just want to do none of that and you want to have a caesarean section? Who
it's
knows?
all there to be
It's all
discussed,
there.
isn't it?
And just because some people book in a cesarean section because their baby may be breech, or we've had one before, or that's what I'm doing. Absolutely your choice, all for it. Do what you want to do.
Yeah.
But you can still ask the questions. There's still things to know about a cesarean section. Just it's not the easy way out.
No.
There's still things that we talk about. So vitamin K for baby.
Yeah.
Research it.
Yeah.
Think about it. This is still the time.
You've got time, haven't you, to do it? And talking of time, we're galloping through our time.
gosh.
Have we got to the end of our appointment schedule?
Yep. So depending on what time and you give birth, then when you get to sort of 40, 41 weeks, potentially having inductions, and hopefully you just have a lovely baby and everything goes well.
Yeah.
But yes, come to 41 weeks, you're then thinking you're not seeing your community midwife so much as you're having a baby at that point.
Yeah.
Which
And
is
it's all
exciting.
ready
However
for the
you're
next
having
big
it.
stage.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to, if you don't mind, I'm going to try and take a minute to ask you some very quick fire questions.
I'll do my best.
To try and cover a few quick areas. So, how do you deal with morning sickness?
I struggled. I can tell you that. I really struggled. Because it's not morning sickness. It's sickness.
Yes.
It's just day to
Good
night,
point.
to evening, to
Yeah.
the afternoon, to
Yeah.
whenever. And it's not every day. Some days are better than other days. And you've just got to go with the punches.
Yeah.
At that point, find what you can eat.
Yeah. Ginger
If-
biscuits, herbal
whatever
tea.
it looks like.
Yeah.
Don't worry about your leafy greens at this point if you can't keep it down. Just
Yeah.
get through those first few weeks.
Try and keep hydrated, I guess, is the thing.
If you
isn't it?
can, absolutely. And stay on top of things. If it gets really bad, contact your GP. They'll
Yeah.
give you something to try and settle your stomach, calm your nausea down. Hopefully you're just nauseous and not being sick, but whatever you can do to get by those first few weeks.
Yeah.
You have a spike in a hormone sort of around 7-8 weeks, and that is what makes you feel really sick.
Yeah.
It settles back down around 11, 12, 13 weeks, which is why everyone normally feels a bit more normal
Yes.
by then. If not, you talk to your midwife, you talk to your GP. We get on top of things before they get really bad.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. I'm sad to ask this question in such a rush, but I really think it's important. What can dads or partners do to support their partner's pregnancy?
We are all different as women. So whatever you want them to do, whatever you need them to do.
Do you think it's communicating?
I do. I really do.
Asking.
I really
Brilliant.
do. You know each other better than I could ever give you advice as to what
Yeah.
you need to do. Some people like a hug. Some people don't want to be touched
Yes.
when they're sick.
And
so
then they change as well in pregnancy, mightn't they?
It's
So, yeah.
understanding that you're the woman in your life who's having a baby is not necessarily the woman that you started with at this point.
Yeah.
Things are changing and she doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And
It's a
hopefully it
big
settles
event,
down.
isn't it? So
Yeah, it's
communicate, you're in it together,
Yeah.
try and support.
And you're tired, you just want to
Yeah.
sleep. Just got to go with it. You've
Go
gotta
with the
go
flow.
with it.
Everyone do their best.
Just do your best.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A quick mention of antenatal classes.
If that's what you want to do, I don't see any harm in them. I think they're quite good. Again, education. Depends whether your NHS trust will provide them for you or you want to do some on your own. There are specific classes out there now that you can pay for that are just on breastfeeding or are just on how to care for the baby or so much out there.
Yeah.
Just make sure it's coming from a reliable source would be my thing.
Good point.
Absolutely.
Good point. And again, I regret doing this so quickly, but just to cover it, cravings, stretch marks, pigmentation, piles, weak
Yeah.
bladder, are they all normal?
They're all part and parcel, I'm afraid. Absolutely. Pigmentation is clever. It's a clever adaptation of your body. Your pigment changes so your baby who can't see a fat lot when they're born can see where they're going and where their food comes from.
Wow. Well,
So that's why you'll find areolas are darkening in colour. You might find you get a line up your tummy. And essentially that is a direction for your baby when they're born. They'll follow that line right up to where they get their food.
that's incredible.
That's what the
A
pigmentation's
map.
for.
Oh,
It is
that's
a map.
amazing. I've never heard that before.
Yeah,
Wow.
so the line on your stomach's called your linea nigra,
Yeah.
and as your baby's born, the idea is they sort of crawl up.
Follow the line.
Yeah, yeah, and they can
What?
see your darkened areola and they're straight on. But that's,
That's beautiful.
textbook and beautiful.
That's poetic. I love it. And what
Yeah,
a thing
that's
to
what it's for.
end on.
Clever.
Sam, it's been amazing having you here today. Thank you
for
so
having us.
much
No,
for
it's
coming
been
and talking.
wonderful.
And please, will you come back and talk about birth
I would
next
love
time?
to.
I know, that'd be brilliant. Well, just wanted to summarise and finish off our session today just with a few positive quotes about pregnancy.
Wonderful.
The first one I've got is, no matter how bad the day has been, it only takes one little kick to make everything feel all right.
That's so true.
And that is magic. It's part of the magic we've been discussing, isn't it? And these quotes, actually, I should say, they're all from unknown sources. They're just ones I found, but I thought this was beautiful. And I hope you enjoy this one, Sam. You are pregnant and you are powerful. You are bold and you are beautiful. Go forward in your boldness, in your beauty and in your contentedness. Trust your body to birth and know that the collective power of women worldwide will be with you.
How fantastic is that?
Thank you again so much for being with us.
No,
I hope
thank
you
you.
enjoyed that. And I really enjoyed talking to you. And I know that you have given so much information to help us all. So thank you so much.
No, thank you.
So parenting, you know, it's a roller coaster, isn't it? But it's so much better if we're in it together. Thank you so much for your company today, Sam, and for all the information you've given us. And this is your host, Iona Chisholm, saying goodbye.
Goodbye.